The learning objective is to use your knowledge of the order of operations to carry out calculations involving the 4 operations. Let us remind ourselves of the 4 operations in maths. I can hear you already. The 4 operations are, of course, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay, have a look at this calculation with me. 57 take away 16 divided by 8 times 2 equals. I can hear you already. You're thinking, well, there are different ways that I can approach this calculation. Are you expected to first do 57, take away 16, then divide your answer by 8, and then multiply by 2? Or are you expected to first perhaps do 16 divided by 8, take that away from 57, and then multiply by 2? Or are you expected to perhaps first do 8 times 2, divide your answer into 16, and then subtract your answer from 57? Oh dear. Don't worry. We have a method, an approach that you can use to ensure that you are working this calculation out correctly, and it's called BIDMAS. Here we go. BIDMAS. BIDMAS is what we call an acronym. An acronym is a word that we form when we use the first letter of a group of words. An acronym is a word that makes it easy for us to remember those other words. Let's see what BIDMAS stands for in maths. The B stands for brackets. The I stands for indices. The D, no surprises, stands for division. The M stands for multiplication. The A, of course, stands for addition. And the S stands for subtraction. Brackets, as you probably already know, looks like that. So we might have a calculation contained within those brackets, something like that. Indices is actually a plural word for the word index. And an index number looks like this. 3 squared. I know you are familiar with that number. 3 squared, or 3 to the power of 2. This small 2 here is what we call an index number. When we have several index numbers, we call them indices. So index is the singular. Indices is when we have lots of index numbers. Okay, so BIDMAS tells us the order of operations. If you look at BIDMAS, it tells us that if we have a calculation that contains brackets, we do the calculation within the brackets first. If we have a calculation that includes indices, we do the indices calculation second after the brackets. Then we do the division calculation and then the multiplication calculation. It then suggests that we do the addition and then the subtraction. Now, like many things in maths, there are always exceptions to the rule. And the exception here is when we are doing the addition and subtraction calculations within a longer calculation. The order of operations suggests that we do addition and then subtraction. That's correct. However, we do the addition and subtraction as they appear in the operation. So what we are saying is that when we have addition and subtraction, they carry equal weighting. They are equally as important. We consider addition and subtraction to be of equal importance. So if I'm doing a calculation and the addition part of the calculation appears before the subtraction calculation, then I do the addition first. If, however, the subtraction calculation appears in that calculation before the addition calculation, then I'll do the subtraction calculation first. So the addition and subtraction carry equal weighting. They are of equal importance, and you simply do them according to which calculation appears first in that greater calculation. Let's have a go at this calculation now. So I'm just going to get rid of this. Okay, but what I'm going to do, just to help us, is I'm going to just write BIDMAS just here, just to remind us. It's always good to have a reminder. Okay, so according to BIDMAS, I would do brackets first. I haven't got any brackets. Indices next. I haven't got any indices. However, I do have a division and I do have a multiplication and I do have a subtraction. So I'm going to tackle the division part of this calculation first. So I am going to do 16 divided by 8. 16 divided by 8 is 2. So my new shorter calculation is 57 minus 2 times 2. According to BIDMAS, I do multiplication before I do subtraction. So the next step would be to do 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So the final step would be to do 57, subtract 4, and yes, you've got the answer. The answer is 53. So my final answer to the calculation, 57 minus 16 divided by 8 times 2, using BIDMAS to help me order the order of operations and my steps, gives me an answer of 53. Well done. Let's use BIDMAS to carry out this calculation. 100 divided by 5 minus 8 times 2. If I look at BIDMAS and I look at my calculation, I can see that I do not have any brackets and I do not have any indices. BIDMAS tells me to do division ahead of any other of the operations. 100 divided by 5 is 20. So the next stage of my calculation would be 20 minus 8 times 2. I now have subtraction and a multiplication. BIDMAS tells me that I do multiplication ahead of subtraction. So I'm going to do 8 times 2. 8 times 2 is 16. So the next step in my calculation is 20 take away 16. And 20 take away 16, I can hear you, to give us an answer of 4. Fantastic. Let's try this one. Our calculation is 13 plus 6 minus 2 times 12 divided by 4. Let's just follow the order of operations as dictated by BIDMAS. So again, I can see that I do not have any brackets and I do not have any indices. Let's have a look to see if I've got a division calculation. Oh yes, I have 12 divided by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So I'm going to do that one first. The next step of my calculation is this. 13 plus 6 minus 2 times 3. According to BIDMAS, I should do the multiplication calculation next. 2 times 3 is 6. So the next step in my calculation is this. 13 plus 6 take away 6. Now if you remember what I said earlier, we are now left with an addition and a subtraction. Because addition and subtraction carry equal weighting, they are of equal importance. We now just carry out the calculation in the order that the addition and subtraction are given to us. So 13 plus 6 is 19. Take away 6 would give me an answer of 13. So my final answer to this calculation, 13 plus 6 minus 2 times 12 divided by 4, is 13. Well done. Let's have a go at carrying out this calculation. Just like me, I know you like a challenge, so let's have a go at this one. Just going to use BIDMAS and follow the steps as ordered by BIDMAS. So the first thing BIDMAS tells me to look out for are brackets, and I can see that I have brackets here in this calculation. So I'm going to carry out this calculation first. Even though there's an addition sign there, because the addition calculation is contained within the brackets, I'm still going to do this addition calculation first. 73 plus 27 is 100. And again, if you cannot work out the answer mentally, remember what I said about jottings. Pop some jottings on the side and carry out the calculation on the side. 3 add 7 is 10. Write the 0 and carry the 1. 7 add 2 is 9, plus 1 is 10, giving you 100. Don't be afraid to show those additional jottings. The next step. BIDMAS tells me that I should do division ahead of subtraction. I can see a division calculation there. Again, I'm going to bring in my knowledge of other topics and concepts in maths to help me carry out 136 divided by 4. And again, if you cannot work the answer out mentally, it's not a problem. Let's set it out using the formal written method for short division using the bus stop method. I am dividing 136 by 4, so I need to be thinking about my 4 times table. Off we go. How many 4s are there in 1? I know the answer is 0. Because it's short division, I'm going to simply carry that 1 that's still remaining over to sit next to the digit 3. So now, how many 4s are there in 13? From my times table of 4, I know that 12 is the closest number to 13. 3 times 4 is 12, so I'm going to write the 3 there. I notice that I have a remainder of 1 left over from the 13, so I'm going to pop that 1 to sit next to the digit 6. I now have 16. How many 4s are there in 16? 16 appears exactly in the 4 times table. There are 4 4s in 16, so I'm going to write the digit 4 there. So my answer to 136 divided by 4 is 34. So the next step in my calculation is 100 subtract 34. And again, if you cannot do this mentally, don't panic. Use the formal written method for subtraction and complete your calculation. 0 take away 4, I can't do it. So this 0 is going to pop next door. But this 0 doesn't have anything to give away. It can't help at the moment. So this 0 is going to pop next door to its neighbour. It'll pop next door and borrow from its neighbour. So the 1 becomes a 0 and gives away its only 1, but it doesn't mind because that's what neighbours are for, to the 0. That 1 sits next to the 0 and becomes a 10. This 10, now feeling very happy, pops over to its neighbour and says, hey, I can help you now. This 10 is going to give 1 away to its neighbour, so that neighbour now has 10, and this 10 now becomes 9. 10 take away 4 is 6. 9 take away 3 is also 6. And so my final answer is 66. So 73 plus 27 in brackets minus 136 divided by 4 is equal to 66. Well done. Now it's your turn. Try these calculations using BIDMAS to determine your steps and the order of operations. Have fun!